This actual play is intended for mature audiences and contains themes some viewers may find upsetting. Please check each episode's show notes for specific content warnings and enjoy the show with care.
Okay, we are back with public access. Let's do a bit of recap before we dive into our phases. You have one active mystery, the house on Escondido Street. You have two available questions to be pursued. What happened to the Mendoza family? I'll remind you that they disappeared in 1994 and no one knows what happened to them. And it was a very sudden disappearance. They left everything at their home basically as it was. You have another question, which is, how can we lure Elliot Mendoza to us? Last time, there was some pretty strong indication that 10-year-old Elliot Mendoza is still in the house somehow. Is it a ghost? Who knows? Is he trapped in some other universe? Who knows? Is it an echo from the house in some way? We don't really know for sure. But you do have a question there that you can pursue as well. In the first case of what happened to the Mendozas, that is answering that question gives you the opportunity to tell Casey Wilcox, who brought this mystery to you, and then if you wish, deal with the house itself, which we know to be malevolent in some way. And then for Elliot, you actually get to unlock Elliot as a reward at the end of the mystery if you're able to lure him to you. And so that is what's going on there. You have currently 4 clues on this mystery. You have another bigger mystery, of course, which is what happened to TV Odyssey. And you have a single Odyssey clue currently, which is a quote. And yet in the eons of life in the universe, only a few grains of sand have fallen in the glass. What does it mean? I don't know. We'll figure it out, but that's what we know for now. And taking a look at the latchkeys are all in pretty good shape as far as things go. JJ does not have any conditions. Nina has the very interesting Swamp of Sadness condition. This came about when you saw your father in Escondido Street, and he sort of beckoned to you, and that brought up some strange memories. Also, more evidence that there's something incredibly weird going on at this house. And Leon has the condition, the Labyrinth. This came about because Leon encountered an intruder at the home you're renting on Rodenbecker Street, an intruder wearing a bull-shaped mask, or like a bull face mask. And the intruder said, "Welcome to the Labyrinth. Will you be able to find your way to the center?" And so more on that in a bit. But that, at a basic level, is where things stand with the various mysteries and goings-on of TV Odyssey. There's a couple of other things to be reminded of, but we'll get into that in a bit. Fantastic. Then we will continue with the day phase. Now, it's very important to understand that 2 days have passed since the events of last time. You notified Sheriff Hanscom about the intruder that Leon encountered. The intruder got away, or is no longer, you were not able to confront him any further. But you told Sheriff Hanscom, and the sheriff just chalked it up to some teenager playing a prank, but has promised that he will keep an eye on things. And if he sees anyone that fits the description, he'll deal with it. We also had this incident where Nina was seen in the basement of 18 Escondido Street playing with a Voltron toy, making it march back and forth. And when confronted, Nina, you have no memory of this happening. And I think JJ, you and Nina in the 2 days since have not talked about this any further. So you can, but you have not up to this point. And so that is sort of where things stand. Just a couple of days of awkwardness and pondering what's going on with this house, maybe working up the nerve to go back to the house. You have a couple of Odyssey tapes, which is great. You spent several weeks here in Deep Lake getting nowhere, and now suddenly things are rushing up to you. Indeed, we have a brand new mystery. The new mystery is called Zagreus. This is a long one with lots of details, so kind of strap in, I guess. In the summer of 1985, 5 teenagers went missing from Deep Lake. Hutch Langley, Dieter Hoskins, Finn Carlson, Rachel Urieta, and Monique Jeffries. Prior to their disappearance, the teens frequented the Galaxia Arcade, playing games from opening until close. One day they stopped, and when school started back up, they were noticeably somber, even morose, all possessing a newfound obsession with death. The last picture taken of them before they vanished was featured in the school's yearbook. It showed the 5 teens sitting along the edge of the highway wearing t-shirts that read The Styx Society. That's S-T-Y-X, Styx Society. Badly silkscreened on the shirts. To this day, no one knows what happened to them, and their families have long since left the desert behind in search of a fresh start. 3 years ago, the game discussion forum Vector Void exploded with activity over a thread titled, "Does anyone remember Zagreus?" The original poster asked about an arcade game they vaguely remembered hearing of in the 80s, but had not been able to find anything about. Several users responded, each claiming to know details of this mysteriously niche game. Nothing was concrete, however, until a user called Sinkerly308 posted that Zagreus was developed by a company called Vertex Electronica, which closed in 1999. The user claimed to have interned there while the game was in development, though hadn't worked on it himself. Additionally, they said the game has so-called secret levels that can only be accessed via unusual methods, though they did not indicate what those methods are. When other users connected the location of Vertex Electronica's old office in Deep Lake, New Mexico, with stories of the Styx Society and their disappearance, an urban legend about a cursed arcade cabinet was born. You play the game, you disappear. I'm going to direct this question to Leon. You're still an active user on the Vector Void forum. Lately, a user named Adafoy85 has been posting cryptic and hostile responses on any threads still discussing Zagreus. What harrowing message have you personally received from Adafoy85 suggesting they aren't just some troll and may actually be a threat to your safety?
Adafoy sent me a picture of Malcolm, but it's not a picture that I've posted anywhere. It's one from my personal computer.
A Zagreus cabinet was found 1 week ago. Ephraim Goldman, the owner of the Galaxia Arcade, discovered it in a lot auction at the Myanmar self-storage facility on the outskirts of town. Immediately recognizing the popularity of its surrounding legend, he had it installed at the shop and advertised its existence on Vector Void. Enthusiasts have started traveling from all over the country to play it. What the hell? Maybe you can see if it's worth the hype. Indeed, you have 2 questions here. The first is, who is Adafoy85 and why are they doing this? Why are they so hostile? It's a complexity 4. The opportunity, if you answer the question, is Remove them as a danger in this mystery by unmasking them, and then either convincing them to let this situation go or otherwise neutralizing the threat they pose. And your next question is, how do you access Zagreus's secret levels? That's a complexity too. It allows you to unlock the new move, Press Start. And so this is not a super pressing mystery. It kind of is in the sense that Attaboy 85 is threatening Leon, but that's something you may have to deal with. But of course, we have this sort of like strange mystery of the video game as well. So that's sort of what's going on there. You might also notice that neither of these questions allow you to resolve the mystery. So that's something else to be mindful of. And so with 2 interesting things on your plate, well, actually lots of interesting things, but 2 mysteries, I want to go around the table and see what everyone's interested in doing today. I'll start with Nina.
I quite like the idea that maybe we are gathered in like a communal area within Rodenbecker, or the Rodenbecker house, sorry. And like we've got like JJ's footage up on like an old CRT TV, and we're going back through it from what he shot at the house, and we're trying to make out like the audio. And we've got Leon like with their laptop up, and they're on the forums looking for Attaboy, and like the picture of Malcolm is there, and we're just like on the table we've got like notes and ideas and printouts from forums and things like that, and we're trying to piece it all together. And I think Nina is looking towards Leon with relative concern, because like Malcolm's picked up on it and is, I would like to think, like acting a little different than he usually would, and Nina's picked up on that. And so like, would Leon have told us about like the whole labyrinth like messaging, or would Leon have just said to the group that there was an intruder?
I think when you came back from the house that night, Leon was not in any sort of state to talk to anyone, which I think y'all were as well. So I think the next couple days you haven't seen much of Leon until now, because he is so anxious that Malcolm keeps going back and forth and nudging him and trying to like get into his lap to calm him down, and he just won't, because he just keeps muttering under his breath, "My fucking firewalls. How the fuck?"
Hey, Leon?
Yeah?
This is, I don't want to press you, but we need to talk about the intruder. Could it have been, do you think it was this Attaboy? Do you think it was him?
You see, he stops typing and sits back for a second. I wasn't even talking about the flippin' arcade at the time. I'm just on the forum, and then people started talking about the thing, and then I saw it, and I don't know, why would they be in the house?
I don't know, I think maybe we've kicked up a couple of rocks and what's underneath a hornet's nest. That's not how the analogy goes. I know, it's just, that's what it feels like. So, was there anything he said? Was there anything he did that could have linked back to Attaboy, or is it someone else we need to worry about as well?
I mean, okay. The intruder had a mask on. It was like a bull mask. Honestly, the backlighting was some of the scariest shit I'd ever seen. He had a bull mask on, and he said, "Welcome to the labyrinth. See if I could find my way to the center." Cryptic as fuck. So yeah, I don't know where he went. I kind of just shut the door and moved the bed and shut me and Malcolm inside until the police came. So that's what happened there. There's some kind of maybe mythology thing happening, but I don't know why he would come with a bull mask in the labyrinth, and Zagreus is like this. Well,
what are you doing in the meantime, JJ?
JJ is sat on the coffee table, kind of half listening to this, but he is kind of sat forward, keenly, almost nose pressed against the CRT screen, looking at the footage he shot that's taken a couple of days to come back from the development lab, and he's got a rough as anything looking work print that's been transferred to a grainy VHS, which kind of looks dope in a punk sense, but for clarity's sense is not great. I think there's a minute or two that he's watching, and this is the bit that's when he was filming Nina from outside the house when she didn't know. And what he's trying to look at is he can't see Elliot in that top window, and he knows he saw Elliot in that top window, but he just can't in this footage. And I think there was a moment where this is where he definitely wasn't listening to this bullhead nonsense, where he was perhaps lost in the fact that the footage that he shot is quite good, and like there's an element of truth to what he's seeing on screen for the first time ever, like the way that Nina looks against the house, the way that she looks so worried, and the way that she's kind of framed up is surprising to him that he's kind of managed to capture that. What I would also say is that he has left out the bit where he abandons Nina in the basement. There's a hard cut there, and there's a missing reel where he chooses to go upstairs, and perhaps in the reverie that he disrupted Nina in when he kind of caught her playing with the Voltrons, he probably used that as an excuse to say he'd been there perhaps the whole time. But yeah, he's reviewing that footage.
Yeah, I'd like for you to go ahead and do a meddling move, I think, for reviewing the footage. Yeah, make it with reason, I would say.
4.
Huh. Interesting. I have to make a reaction here. Let me think on it for a moment. Let's keep going with Leon and Nina for a moment. So this sort of like heated discussion about mythology.
I think like Nina's taking this is like the most she's heard Leon talk, I think, in like a comprehensive way. I feel like Leon's very closed off if he's not online, and quite hidden even though he's in plain sight. So Nina is like invested and is like, oh god, I'm a friend. They're opening up, a friend. And so he's listening intently. But as she is, there's that fighting fantasy, choose your own adventure part of her that's like the labyrinth, the bull, the minotaur of mythology, but also like David Bowie's like a seminal masterpiece. There's a way in, there's a way out, and I know what that is. And I would know what that is. Like if I could just get back in there, I could figure it out. And this all sort of started and happened with like the house. And so Nina's sort of eyes flick up from Leon to the CRT screen, and she is jarred as she sees herself as like JJ's reviewing that footage on the screen, and is like, I think we need to go back to the house.
How does it make you feel to see yourself doing the thing that JJ claimed you were doing that you don't remember, but here's proof that you were in fact doing it?
Oh, it's like it's like static in her brain. She's not processing it. It didn't exist to her as she was doing it. It's almost like she can't even see it now. She's like, that's not real.
Take a condition, static in my brain.
Oh God. Okay.
JJ, is this the kind of situation where you have like headphones on so you can hear the audio as well of what you recorded? Can you even hear audio in Super 8? I'm not even sure.
No, there's no audio, but I think I do have headphones in to kind of perhaps block this out.
That will make this even weirder. So you're reviewing the footage, and of course there's no audio because you didn't have a boom mic or anything while you were moving through the house. But we see you kind of moving through the house. You originally came in through the back door, if I remember correctly, and I think you kind of moved through the kitchen. And I'd actually like to take the opportunity to do the paint the scene question from the kitchen as the camera kind of sweeps around the kitchen. The kitchen is a very small kitchen with a bar window that kind of looks directly into the dining room. There's a Wedgwood blue trestle table sort of set for dinner, piled up with the Reese's peanut butter cup wrappers. Oak cabinets, speckled Formica countertops, all that kind of thing. Based on what was left out when the Mendozas disappeared, I would like for each of you to name one thing that was on the dinner menu that night 10 years ago.
I think from the way it's sort of decomposed, it's very difficult to see what the sort of brown log was that's in the middle of the dinner table in like a presenting tray. But it has that timeless shape that only meatloaf can have. And it just now, you didn't know meatloaf could die until you've seen it on this table.
There's a casserole dish with, it almost looks like scoops were taken out of what might have been a 3-bean casserole, but it's so molded over and crusted over that the mold has overgrown what was inside the dish, the sides of the dish, and has flowed onto the tablecloth itself, almost birthing its own little ecosystem. This 9x11 Pyrex.
At one of the places on the table, there's no cutlery set or a placemat set or anything. There's just a now long crusted over on the inside, kind of like a protein shake mix. So someone was having a very different dinner that evening, a liquid meal, as it were.
The camera keeps going through the house. The little doorway that goes down into the that goes to the landing that goes down to the basement, or the stairs that go down to the basement, we kind of see you like focusing in on that. We might even see like out of the corner of the camera or out of the corner of the frame, we might even see like just a little bit of like a little bit of movement down where Nina is, right? Can't see too much because you're just operating off a little light that you have on the camera, right? It's very dark footage. But then something happens that you don't remember doing when you were filming this. You, presumably the camera operator, turns back and goes back to the hallway that go to the bedrooms. You're moving through the hall. At this point, you would have already been aware of Elliot. You've already gone through the bedroom. You've already looked in the closet. You've done all that. But you go back into the hall where the bedrooms are. You briefly look at the open door into Elliot's room. And then you hear audio. You hear voices coming from behind the door at the end of the hall, what would be the master bedroom. It's a man and a woman. Two voices you recognize. Well, this is bullshit. You told me we were all caught up on the bills. And now I have to find out that you haven't been paying them for 3 months? What have you been doing with the money? Shh. Keep your voice down. Keep your voice down. Joe's standing right outside the hall. Do you want him to hear us? Maybe he needs to hear us. Maybe he needs to hear what kind of father he has. Maybe he needs to learn about what the world is really like. Just stop, okay? Just stop. How does this make you feel, JJ?
It makes me feel the exact same way that when I would have heard those things when I was kind of 10, 11 years old. And I think it's probably shattered at the idea that my parents would be fallible.
That's pretty good. Take shattered as a condition. What do you do?
I instantly throw the headphones off and take one of Nina's cigarettes and immediately go outside and spark one up.
What do the two of you do when you see JJ quite suddenly disturbed and walking away? Leon, what are you up to?
Leon, once Nina had turned away, had gone back to the computer and then is just so agitated as soon as JJ gets up, he startles as well. Just, fuck. What's his problem?
I don't have any idea. And she's gonna look at the screen. Does Nina see the bedroom, or...
You see the journey down the steps, and that's when you see yourself more very clearly playing with the Voltron.
Well, maybe he's got the right idea, but something in that house. We've got to go back to that house. And, she is looking at you as if to sort of say, do you want to come with? But she's not going to ask you. She knows better by now, having spent a couple of weeks with you, that you do as, Leon does as Leon wants. Leon is their own. So it's just like an open invitation kind of a glance.
There is Zagreus.
There is Zagreus. Leon sighs. I gotta figure out what's so important about this game that someone sends a picture, hacks into my personal computer, which is off, sends it to me. It's wild. Why are you doxing me over a game? It makes no fucking sense.
Okay. Do your own thing, but and Nina's eyes will flick to Leon's backpack or satchel or what they have, and will just pick out the flare gun that's just sort of gently concealed within and be like, you know how to keep yourself safe.
Leon looks at the CRT TV. Yeah. That place looks fucked up, man. I'm not gonna lie. It looks weird.
Super fucked up. I saw my... Doesn't matter.
What?
I'm gonna head back to the house. And Nina will follow JJ's route out, pull a cigarette out as she does, and I think makes sure she's got the flashlight on her, but like taps it in her pocket, but is going to make a beeline for the house.
Do you want to catch up? Or JJ, where are you at? Where did you go?
I just went into the garden to get some air. But I think JJ's interest today is definitely going back to the house at nighttime if I can. But there was some detail about and one of the Mendozas still lived in Deep Lake.
Debbie.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Debbie Mendoza.
Yeah, the aunt of Elliot and Abigail. Yeah.
I'm super interested of like maybe going to find out where she is and maybe going to talk to her.
Sure, yeah, you can get her address easily enough. Okay, so it sounds like we're all split then. Nina is going back to the house. JJ is going to go talk to Debbie Mendoza, and Leon is going to the Galaxia Arcade or somewhere else. Galaxia Arcade. Let's pick up at the house. Nina, are you just going into the back door again?
Yeah, I think she's going to make sure that Patient's head is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah.
And then, as she's not like sneaky in any way, she would like to think she was, but sort of acting like a character out of one of the fighting fantasy novels, she'll try and slip through the back and back in through the back door.
I'll give you the lay of the land again. There may not be anything else to find in the basement, but you can still go back down there, of course. Kitchen, dining room, which we just discovered or just talked about. You have the hallway with the bedrooms. We've seen Elliot's, but there's also the master bedroom and then Abigail's bedroom. And then there's this big TV room, this big like kind of family room, right? Where the family would have hung out and watched movies and stuff. It's all very dark because there's no electricity, of course. I assume, do you have a flashlight or are you just using like the green glow from your Motorola?
Oh my god, a little bit of both. I've got the flashlight that I've had since I was a kid and that I used last time. And I think just before, the TV room in particular interests me. But just before she heads that way, she's going to take a look at the fridge where she saw her dad, or where she thought she saw her dad. And just assess it for a moment and just like yeah.
The fridge is mostly filled with just decayed food and grotesque, just the smell's horrible. But there's also a case of the brand of beer that your dad enjoyed, with one missing from the case.
Oh, she slams it shut.
Please make the night move. What are you afraid is going to happen right now if you lose your nerve? And for viewers, I'm only triggering the night move because it's dark in this house.
I'm afraid that when I turn around, my dad's going to be there. And I'm going to be faced with the fact that he is so very gone. And this is all I have left.
Oh boy. It's worse than that. Patient's head is also there.
Oh.
And also, you have triggered a special rule in this mystery. Whenever the house F's with you in this particular way, by tormenting you with your conditions, in this case, Swamp of Sadness, you have to take an additional condition, Haunted. And you are making this roll at disadvantage.
Oh, goddamn.
It's going to be with sensitivity.
Oh god, so I've got disadvantage and -1.
It's a bad roll.
Okay, so it's an 8. So it's a 7 and disadvantage. Not awful, but not great.
Let me take a look at your... as soon as you pick up Haunted, you're going to have 3 conditions.
Oh shit. I've forgotten about the static.
Indeed. You... how do I want to go? Oh, let me think about this. I've got an idea, but we'll come back to it.
Okay.
JJ, finding Debbie Mendoza is not too difficult. She lived just a few doors down from her brother and sister-in-law. Her house the front yard is not nearly as ominous as that of 18 Escondido Street. What do you do?
I walk straight up to the door and knock, and I've got like a little notepad and a pencil, and we're gonna play reporter here.
Oh, good. Debbie Mendoza, she answers the door. She has red hair with gray roots showing. When she answers the door, she's got like her arms crossed, in that really kind of defensive body language way. And she kind of looks at you and she says, yeah, what can I do for you?
Hi, yeah, I'm Howie Thompson. I'm in town for a few days. I went to school here. I'm actually a reporter in Albuquerque, and I went to school here, and I'm back for a few days visiting family. And I went to school with Abigail Mendoza, who lived just down the road, and I went to the house, and it seems like it's abandoned. And I asked around a couple of people. There was a kind of a nosy neighbor. Didn't seem to know that much, was pretty cryptic, but said that you might be able to shed some light on the subject.
Make the meddling move with presence. Let me take a look at your conditions too. Do you have anything that might be relevant here? No, I don't think so. I'm not going to invoke Shattered yet.
7.
She kind of gives you like a smirk, and she says, "You're a reporter from Albuquerque?"
That's right.
Right. Listen, kid. If you think you're not the first person to come to my door with a weird story about my brother and his family, or wanting to get back in touch with Elliot or Abby, or pretending to be like somebody you used to work with, Hugh, cut the crap. So what is it? Is it some kind of like internet video that you're making? Is it some sort of, are you writing a book? Like, what's this about?
Look, you got me. Mea culpa. I am writing a book. I'm writing a book on the disappeared people of New Mexico. And I did go to school here, and I did know Abigail, and I do know the stories about what happened to them. And I just wanted to speak to someone who wouldn't give me the runaround and wouldn't send me on a wild goose chase, chasing leads all over town, as that's all I bumped up against so far since I've been here. So I didn't want to disturb you. I didn't want to dredge all this up for you. I respect you, your time. I know this must be hard, but I figured you would have the most insight on the matter. And
All right. Just come in. And you can go inside, and then she'll talk to you in a bit. Leon, you're at the Galaxia Arcade. And indeed, there is a line out the door. That is the line to play Zagreus. There are even people still parking and getting out and joining the line to play Zagreus, this legendary arcade cabinet that no one's seen for years and years. Many people thought it wasn't even real. They've got one. You can go into the arcade if you don't want to get in line, but if you want to play Zagreus, you got to cut in line or get in line. What do you want to do?
I think I'm going to go into the arcade and see if I can find the owner.
Yeah, that's great. Let's talk about the Galaxia Arcade. I think when you walk in, you're first hit with a quite strong smell of dust, old sweat, and cheap pizza. Indeed, FG keeps That's his name, Ephraim Goldman. FG keeps a sort of heat lamp with old, with pizza slices warming underneath it, which you can get a slice for $1, right? There's a sort of stuttering grind of underperforming AC units. It's very nasty in here. It's got classic, like kind of arcade carpet, kind of weird, like galaxy spirals and that kind of thing. And the light is really weird. It has that sort of dim glow that arcades have, right? And FG's even installed some black lights up top so that everything has this weird kind of glow to it. Let's paint the scene, everyone. This was the place to be for any tween or teen in late 1980s Deep Lake. What is your favorite memory from the Galaxia arcade? And what still persists into the present day that reminds you of it?
I think the foosball tables are where all the cool kids go, the kids who are above all the other stuff. And that was true when I was going there, and it is definitely still true now.
I think Nina didn't really like the arcade much, but there was one occasion where she'd gone with Becky and Janice to check it out because, everyone from school was going, and Nina wanted to fit in so desperately. And she'd found, I'd like to think that at that time there's loads of different games, new things coming out all the time, and Pac-Man was maybe a little neglected in the corner. And Nina just found her stride and spent several hours and a good few dollars of quarters going through and trying again and again and again, and never quite succeeding, but having a nice time and looking around and hearing all of the kids chattering and all of the voices and smelling the pizza, and realize that this is what normal kids do. And that felt good to fit in.
There's a corner booth near to where the pizzas are. He used to sell more than pizzas back in the day, but the pizzas remain. And in that corner booth, scratched just into a wood post by the side, Leon was bored at the time, but it's the start of LE before the owner caught him and told him to, in not nice words, stop what he was doing and get out.
That's actually a perfect segue, I think. I think Ephraim Goldman, after all these years, he has not forgotten you. And he's at this point, he's quite old and wiry, very jaundiced eyes, and he has this big 4-barrel coin changer on his belt, and he's been running this place since it first opened in the 70s. And he sees you and he says, well, if it isn't LE. Did you come to finish your handiwork, LE?
Hi, Mr. Goldman.
I'm just giving you a hard time, kid. Call me FG. How can I be angry? Look at all this business.
Yeah, it looks like it's booming. What's going on?
I couldn't believe my luck. I mean, it's been, I don't know. I mean, listen, we had a Zagreus back in the day, okay? And back then, kids didn't want to play the thing. Even before all that stuff in 1985, you've heard all the stories.
Yeah.
But now that it's aged into one of those urban legends, it's gangbusters. I was really, really lucky to get my hands on this machine. I thought it was gone forever.
Where did you find it?
One moment. Hey, folks. Everybody having a good time? Good. Yeah, you need some quarters? Here. Have a few games on your old pal FG. his little coin changer thing. And indeed, you can see the Zagreus like at the other end of the arcade, kind of in a. It's almost separated from the rest of the machines. Almost
Pride of
like
place.
Pride of place, almost like altar-like, right? As people like are coming up to it, lined up in supplication, right? He says, "Yeah, I won it in an auction. Can you believe it?"
I mean, hey, if it's good for business.
And it's incredible. It's incredible. Nowadays, kids don't like these old games anymore, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can't imagine.
Have you ever heard of Dance Revolution?
Yeah, I've played it a couple times.
Yeah, well, I was doing pretty good with that for a while, but then we had to. Oh, those things are hell to keep up. People just bop, 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 jumping all over it. Just nightmare and repairs. This is way cheaper and way more lucrative.
Have you given it a shot, the Zagreus?
I don't really play these games, but yeah, I tried it out. If I'm being perfectly honest, it's not that good.
Oh,
indeed, a couple of people are walking like back out from having played it, and they're like, "God, that sucked." I can't believe we drove in all the way from Amarillo for that. they're like walking off.
Oh, wild.
Why don't you get in line and play?
The line's out the door, and I don't know. I was just kind of curious to see what was going on, but
I think at this point you can make a meddling move with presence.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, the carpet has a particularly strange, I would say, maze-like pattern on the carpet. I'm going to press on the labyrinth as well and put you at disadvantage.
Okay. Would he have let me bring my puppy inside?
Sure, yeah.
Cool.
How is Mal helping you ignore the distinctly maze-like pattern on the carpet?
I think Mal has been clinging to my side, and so if he sees me getting distracted again, I think it's trying to nudge me in the back of the knee, and it's making my leg buckle, and I keep having to right myself, which forces me to look up.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and roll 2d6 then.
Yay. Best boy, saving me from disadvantage. Okay. Oh, shit. That's 11.
Oh, nice. Interesting. You want to bump it and get a 12? Get an Odyssey tape out of it?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, you could bump a 10 too, but something about an 11 is about being just one away, right? I mean, come on. So in order to bump the result, you have to mark either something from the Key of the Child or mark the very first empty box on the Key of Desolation.
Ooh. Oh, that's fun. Let me hold off on the Key of Desolation for a second. I will mark something from the Key of the Child.
Okay, take a look at that. Let me check back in with Nina. Nina, you open the refrigerator. You see your dad's brand of beer. I think there's let's say it's like a 6-pack, and there's one missing, right? As if someone like grabbed it to like drink it, and it also.
Can I add something awful?
Yeah, please.
The beer expired the year that my dad died.
Oh my God. Okay, yeah, good.
Yeah.
That's great. And I think it's even cold, despite the fact there's no power to the refrigerator.
Oh gosh.
I am going to give you another condition, but because you already have 3 conditions, you might as well just bump up the roll to a 10.
Done.
In the same manner, take a look. Key of Desolation or the Key of the Child?
I'm so I was screaming through the through the channels at Leon to take the key of desolation, and now I'm with the same decision. I'm like, oh, I'm going to mark the key of desolation, the sandstone arch. Unlock the dawn question. Did you receive a signal from the other side? Cool.
You're keeping it together. What do you do?
She's going to reach for the planchette in her pocket, with flashlight in one hand and planchette in the other, and she's just trying by the skin of her teeth to keep this together. Is going to look through that circle within and just check the spaces in front of her and just like, there's nothing here. There's nothing here.
Like looking into the refrigerator or like somewhere else?
I think I slammed the refrigerator, so I'm just I'm turning around slowly, very slowly, and then just confirming that actually, no. This is her at her most superstitious.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not here, then of course, like, ghosts don't exist. It's fine.
Do you head to the TV room then?
The TV room, yes.
The TV room, as best you can tell in the dark light, although there is some light probably coming in from the windows. There's a maroon sectional sofa. There's an entertainment center as big as a wall. There is a VCR hooked up to a massive tube TV. The clock on the VCR is blinking 12 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 12 o'clock.
There's no indication that any other electronics in this house work, right?
Correct.
I'm going to do that thing I used to do when I was a kid, and I'm going to flip the lid of the VCR just to see if there is a tape in there.
We'll come to this in a moment. Before we go to it, though, I want to ask the paint the scene question. Looking around, how do we know this was the most frequented room in the house?
There are trails in the carpet. And I think what's really strange about this, the rest of the house is in complete disarray. We've seen the kitchen, it's molded. We've seen the basement, it's dusty. Even the bedrooms have that stench of like death about them. But the carpet, aside from the trails that lead to the sofas where everybody sat, is plush, as if it's just been hoovered.
There's about 3 or 4, no, 5 different remote controls that have been half broken, the buttons pressed in too far, the back of it is missing so the batteries could never stay in, and there's bits of tape wound around to try and keep them in where they failed and had to give up and eventually buy a new one. And there's one that is on the counter, semi-pristine.
And that remote that is semi-pristine belongs to a still in its box, not yet set up, but because of how important the family activities of watching things together on the big television were, there is a in its box laserdisc player and a couple of big old laserdiscs that the big flippers that they never got to watch.
Since you are poking around inside that VCR, I'm going to go ahead and let you do the meddling move with, I think it's actually composure, because of the the VCR that is blinking even though there's no power.
Right,
you can make a case for sensitivity, but I'm going to go with composure.
No, I would love a composure. I have 2 in composure and a -1 in sensitivity, so composure, please. That is a 6 and a 5, so a 13.
Oh, look at us. Wrapping up tapes. Good. Okay. So you're in Debbie's breakfast nook, we'll say. And I think Debbie's the type of person who still has all of her old furniture from the 80s, like the kind of turned wood farmhouse chairs, that kind of thing. Like a brass owl clock on her wall. And she kind of lights up a cigarette, and she actually takes a puff and blows it out before she says, do you mind if I smoke? And then she kind of settles into it. All right, so what do you want to know about my brother and his family, or the house, or this street, or Deep Lake, or Degoya County?
Well, before we start casting the net too wide, what do you remember about the last time you saw them?
We were, well, it was the summer, and Sherry had just thrown a little pool party for the kids, some of the neighborhood kids. We all came over. We were all going to stay and have dinner. It was a pretty normal summer day. But of course, there's nothing really normal about that house, is there? I mean, that house. And then she kind of, you can tell it's taking her a second to kind of like work up the nerve to talk about this, or to work up the energy. That house is just wrong. It's cursed. It's evil. I don't know what, just real bad juju, And it's always been that way. Even before my family disappeared, it was strange. I never liked it from the start. That said, it's still their house, and I think maybe they'll come back someday, so I leave it as it is. I make sure that goddamn patient's head doesn't go poking around trying to get the place condemned. Anyway, the house is bad. So even on a nice, bright, sunny pool day, you feel it, right? You feel the strangeness. But not just evil, but it's also weird, Just a weird place. Let me show you something. And she gets up, and she's rummaging around her closet for a minute. And she comes back, and she puts on the table a Candyland box. I don't know in the UK if they have Candyland, but so Candyland is a child's board game that is about these kids. It's a very, very simple child's board game for like little kids, where they go around they go through the land of candy to reach the peanut brittle castle or some shit at the end, and that's basically it. It's got all these weird characters. That's all you need to know about Candyland. She says, Candyland, right? What could be so weird about Candyland? Every kid plays Candyland. But look at this. And she lifts the lid off the box and unfolds the board, and she's kind of pointing out. And JJ, even if Matt doesn't know what Candyland is, JJ absolutely would know what Candyland is. And it's a different Candyland board. It's not the Candyland board that every kid knows growing up, right? She says, this is the only Candyland like this. Look at these characters. These are not characters from the Candyland universe. The Toffee Duke, the Ravenous Sugar Pig, the Licorice Beastie, the Peanut Butter Sphinx. These characters don't exist anywhere except on this Candyland board. I've done research, okay? This came from my nephew's closet. I've done research on the internet, the World Wide Web. I've done research. No one knows anything about this. No one's ever heard of these characters. No one's ever heard of this version of Candyland. What am I supposed to make of that?
Did you ever play this with Abigail and Elliot?
No, I didn't. Truth be told, the kids were kind of scared of it. Like you just grab a stack of games down, Monopoly, Scrabble, whatever. And if you recommend this one, they would almost reflexively say, like, no, they don't want to play that one. And reach for something else. You've got to tell me, what kind of house has a game in a closet like this? Sherry didn't remember buying it. The kids don't know where it came from. And as best I can tell, it shouldn't exist.
Well,
I've thought about selling it on eBay.
You probably should. Like, I know that like there was a Wu-Tang album that had a misprinted track listing that goes for a lot. So perhaps like one of these like factory mistakes, you know, there might be a translation issue. Like a lot of these games aren't made in the US, and you know, perhaps that's it. Perhaps, you know, you can make a little scratch while you still can.
Nope. I don't know. Listen, I don't know anything about Wu-Tang or any of that stuff. I just know that there's something going on in that house. And whatever it is, it has something to do with whatever happened to my family. This is your clue, though. Your clue is the existence of this impossible Candyland board at 18 Escondido. What did you get on your die result? Was it 10 or
7?
It was a 7. She says, what do you say, me and you, maybe we play it? You could play Candyland in 20 minutes.
I'm all for frivolity, so I'm happy to throw some dice around.
Yeah, if only it was that complex. And she lays out the Candyland board. Candyland is famously a game that has literally no skill to play. Like it's a game meant to teach kids colors and counting, right? You draw cards and the cards have a color on it, and then you move your piece to the square that matches that color that's next, right? You make your way through. And you have your little plastic pieces that are shaped like gingerbread men. And you move through each of the little locations on the board. In this case, through the lair of the Toffee Duke, through the desert of the Peanut Butter Sphinx, and so forth. And playing this impossible Candyland board triggers the day move. What are you afraid is going to happen right now if this goes badly?
I'm afraid that my cover will be blown, but to the extent that word will get out to other people like Patience Head, who will spread it around, and I'll find things much harder to discover around deeply.
Yeah. I'm into that. Go ahead and roll with. I think it's probably just composure.
8.
As you play this very simple game, which you can finish in no time flat, it still feels really unusual to play it. What is it about the experience that's so strange? Think on it. Leon, FG's talking a little bit more about like how he acquired the Zagreus cabinet. He thinks it might even be the same one that he used to have. He got it in an auction from the Me and My self-storage. Frequently what will happen is if someone abandons a storage unit, they haven't like paid their bill in a while, the owner of the storage company will do an auction for everything that's inside, right? And FG bid on this lot and got the cabinet. He says, I feel a little bit ripped off because whenever you do these like storage unit, auctions, normally they're filled with all kinds of crap, right? Like you don't know what you're getting. You just bid and you just kind of cross your fingers and hope you get something really good. Old family silver, maybe like a pair of ostrich skin boots, old furniture. Well, when they rolled up the storage unit door, the only thing inside was the Zagreus. Just sitting there like it was waiting on us, like it was waiting to be found. I mean, I guess it wasn't. There was a little more to it than that. He goes around like to his little like kind of desk area over by the pizza, and he says, "When I was getting the cabinet set up, I actually found this inside of it." And he has like a camcorder, an old camcorder, really, really old one from like, that's a real big chunky thing from the 80s. And on the side of the camcorder, it has a piece of white tape. A piece of white tape that says, "Property of Finn Carlson." Finn Carlson is one of the disappeared kids from the Styx Society. He says, "So, I got an old camera in the deal because it wasn't, I shouldn't complain. No one's got a Zagreus, right?"
Yeah, no one's got a Zagreus. I have a friend who's actually into cameras and stuff. Do you mind parting with that?
Yeah. I wasn't able to get it to work anyway. There's still a tape stuck in it, but I can't get the thing powered up to get it out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'll be able to get it out either, but he might be able to do something with it if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Hey, if there's anything like really rare or newsworthy, we go in 50-50, right?
60-40 on your side.
Hey, I like the way you negotiate, Ellie. Here's the thing. Out of character, this is like the little camcorder tapes. It's not big enough to be an Odyssey tape, but there still could be something good on there. Indeed, your clue is the existence of this camera, and if you can get it fired up to look at it, that will give you a little bit extra insight. But it's the camera of one of the kids that went missing. But there's more. The line is kind of moving along. People are... Zagreus really sucks. Like, everyone's like no one's happy. Like, no one is leaving. Like, they can't believe they waited in line so long to play this really boring game. And you see someone sitting. I think there's like along one wall, there's a bunch of like little bar chairs, and you see a man. He's so big. For one thing, it's really hot and muggy in here, and he's wearing a suit and a big old cowboy hat, and he's enormous. He's so big that as he sits on this little like bar height chair, it's bar stool, that's what they call them, Jason, on this bar stool, as he's sitting on this bar stool, you can't see the bar stool. He's so big. It almost looks like he's floating in the air, And his suit must be some kind of light color, because under the blue light, he looks very blazingly white, right? This big giant ball of white in a cowboy hat. And he raises his hand up like this, with the palm out, and then wiggles his fingers at you in greeting, and then turns his hand and beckons you to him. What do you do?
Leon looks to the owner and see if he has any sort of reaction to this person.
Oh, he sees him, yeah.
Okay. Not a mirage. And he is going to start to walk over to him tentatively. He's going to wind the lead up on Mal.
Mal actually is already over there getting petted.
Ooh. Mal. Seeing that, Leon is immediately going to go over. Mal, what are you... Hello, sorry about my dog. He's normally doesn't just stray away from me.
This man tips his cowboy hat to you. His hand is so big that as he's like petting Mal, he can practically like wrap his like fingers around Mal's neck. You know, he's like such a big hand. He's probably like 7 feet tall standing, right? He says, "You don't have anything to be sorry about. Nothing at all." Let's get back over to Nina. Nina. 2 things. First, your clue.
Oh.
There is a family picture in the entertainment center that you see as you walk over there to investigate the VCR. The family picture looks like it's from Halloween. Hugh and Sherry, dad and mom, so Hugh is dressed in like a big like rubber monster costume, and the mom is dressed up like I don't remember her name, the witch villain from Power Rangers. What's her name? You remember her though, right?
I can't think of her name. I know exactly who you mean.
Yeah, I have to look it up later. I'm sure somebody in the comments right now is screaming at us, right? And then you see 2 children, presumably Elliot and Abigail. Elliot is in a red Power Ranger costume with helmet, and Abigail is in a pink Power Ranger costume with helmet. And there's a 3rd kid in a green Power Ranger costume with helmet. And that's your clue. The picture with the 3rd kid.
Oh boy. Oh, that could mean so many things. Okay.
Noting that, you then can go down to what you were originally doing, which was to look into the VCR.
Yep.
And inside the VCR, you find a tape. It's not in a clamshell because it's in the machine, but it is written in the same hand that your other 2 tapes are written in on the side. And this one has the label Astral 09 Pyramid Passage Pure White Contact. Out of character and in character, it is your 3rd Odyssey tape. What do you do?
Curiosity is going to kill this cat. She walks over to the remotes, all of these beaten and taped up and buttons missing, batteries falling out remotes, and looks over them and is going to try and find the one that turns, like, it's a long shot, the one that turns the TV on, and press play on the VCR and see if she can watch it here.
The TV does not come on. There's no power.
Okay. Like she breathes out a little bit, like relieved, and then goes and hits eject on the VCR.
You
instead.
can get the tape out.
Okay, great. And like a prize, she sort of like tucks it sort of into her like little satchel that she has. And continues to look about the room. There's no like bookshelves or anything in here, is there? Is it just the TV that dominates?
I think it's inside one of these big like entertainment centers on the wall. So there are shelves where there would be like other videotapes and books and things like that.
Okay. Is that there's nothing? the librarian in her is just like,
Wants to
what
look
was
at all the
your
stuff, yeah.
what is your library like? What is it? What was it?
Um,
what was this family about? Sort of thing. And we'll just take a quick look.
I think you're still under the auspices of your previous role, so I think you
Okay.
learned what you can learn there. But I will give you
Okay.
this.
Yeah.
There's another. So, along with the collection of, there's like some laser discs. There are some books, mostly just things like Reader's Digest and Hardy Boys and stuff like that, right? Maybe even Babysitter's Club and Nancy Drew, which I know you love so well.
Oh, great.
There are also some other tapes. The Land Before Time, American Tail, 50 Goes West, all that nonsense, right? But there's also a tape that stands out because it's not like a kind of like Disney thing. It's not some like packaged like nice thing. It's just it's packaged like a home movie. It's not an Odyssey tape. It doesn't have the telltale signs of an Odyssey tape, but it does have a label, and the label says Chili Cook-Off 86.
Something dings in the back of her head. She just sort of goes, I think JJ might like that. And she'll take it from the shelf and pop it in the satchel.
Add it to your corner of the house.
Cool.
The Chili Cook-Off 86 tape.
And then from there, I think she's gonna move to leave the house. But just as she's moving past the hallway, back towards the front door, she's not looking at the kitchen at all. And that curiosity is just like something beckoning from the bedroom. She's seen it on JJ's tape.
Oh, yeah.
She just needs to see it for herself. And then that's it. That's this house, just, that's every corner of this dungeon, this death trap dungeon, like, discovered, right? That's every pathway. That's her fighting fantasy of this, like, map complete. And she can be content with that, but she has to go into the bedroom.
The master bedroom, like the parents' bedroom?
The master bedroom, yeah.
JJ, do tell, what's so strange about this game of, apart from the fact that you're playing a weird Candyland with like a 50-year-old woman, like what's so, in the middle of the day, what's so weird about this gameplay experience?
We've all been there, come on.
Yeah.
It's a cloyingly simple children's game, right?
It has literally no skill involved. It's just pure luck. Yeah.
Every time JJ turns a card over and sees the color, and it's purple, it's red, or it's yellow, or whatever, he picks up his piece and he kind of like makes a show of moving it onto the corresponding square on the board. And every time he takes his hand off the playing piece, Debbie says, "No, that's wrong." And then JJ looks back at the board and the card I turned over was yellow, but I've put the person on the pink space, but I'm so sure I turned a pink card over and I moved to the pink space, but every time it's wrong. He feels like his head is swimming with this kind of kaleidoscope of color every time he plays it. And he when he's watching Debbie take her turn, he's trying to kind of occupy himself as he's watching her do things to make sure he's not going insane, that the colors don't match, or maybe like, maybe she's switching the cards over or something. But he has absent-mindedly made something in his pocket. And when he pulls his hand out of his pocket of his blazer, he has folded a paper crane out of a Reese's wrapper.
That's very good. Ooh, eerie. I'm going to give you a condition, but I'm not sure how to editorialize it. Any thoughts at the table? What to call this condition? I was originally thinking the kaleidoscope, but then the paper crane Reese's peanut butter cup thing threw me. Was
it in Blade Runner that one of the
that's where I stole it from.
Synths, yeah. Following Deckard, like, makes little origami, like origami stalkers. is what they are in my head, but it could be something else.
Condition really should be called "Shame She Won't Live Forever." But,
that's it. Yes, absolutely.
I think. Can it be King of Candyland?
Sure. You could. Oh, actually, I think you win. And Debbie says, "Congratulations. I hereby dub thee King Gumdrop, the fourth of his name of Candyland." That's your condition. King Gumdrop the fourth.
And JJ absolutely should not have won. He didn't get a single card turned over, and even this very simple game, he beefed it pretty hard. But he'll take a coronation.
She says, "So was this helpful for you, or what? Are you this story or whatever it is you're working on?"
They're all important. And, like I said, I'm from here, and I see the looks on people's faces in Albuquerque and the big cities that I travel to when I say I'm from Deep Lake, New Mexico, and everyone makes that face. And when they make that face, it makes me feel like the people here don't matter. And I just want to make people feel like they matter. And that's why I'm writing this story. And that's why I spoke to you today. So yes, I may be the king of Candyland, but this has been incredibly helpful. Thank you.
L.E. So, have you enjoyed your return to your hometown so far?
Leon's face drops a bit. He had gone in a bit more open, and then, how do you know I just came back?
I brought you a gift. I actually came to find you here. He reaches into his pocket and just pulls out an Odyssey tape and hands it to you. That's for you. Don't
Leon
say I never gave you nothing.
Leon doesn't take it immediately. He's looking at it. Are you Adafoy or something?
No, I don't reckon I know what that means. I do. Well, I do have a name.
Okay. And it would be...
What is my name?
You have to think about it.
Who am I? I suppose I've gone by many names over the years. But for now, you can call me the Wanderer, because that's what I do. I wander. I observe. I remember. And I tell stories about the places I wander to and about the people I see. I'm going to tell a story about you someday. You can be sure of that. Although I wonder what kind of ending it will have.
Not one that involves you. And he's going to take the tape and grab Malcolm by the collar.
One more thing before you go. He stands up now, and you can truly see his enormity. His shoulders, he's probably like 4 feet wide at the shoulder, right? He's just huge. And you can kind of see his face a little bit better. It's very jowly and heavy. Eyes sort of recessed between thick layers of fat. And that bolo tie in the shape of the sun. FG wouldn't like it if I showed you this, but I'm going to show you anyway. And he goes towards the emergency exit of the arcade. What do you do?
Malcolm starts to poke Leon in the side of the leg again, because he can feel that he's getting anxious, but Malcolm still has to come along as Leon starts to follow him towards the exit.
He pops open the exit door and he has to hunker down to get underneath the threshold and turn sideways to get through. And when you get out into the sunlight of the day, you can see now that his suit is this very like pale, creamy, buttery yellow. He says, I want you to look here. And he goes to like a dumpster, like a trash dumpster, and he puts his weight against the dumpster and it just moves just very easily, just across the pavement. And down beneath it, there's a sewer hatch. And he reaches down and pops up the sewer hatch, and there's a ladder going down. He says, not many people know what's down there. I can't fit, sadly.
Let me get this straight. You want me to go down into the sewer?
I think you'll find what's down there is rather amazing.
I think when he mentions the maze, he's like, nope. Nah, takes 2 steps backwards. I don't know what your deal is. I don't know who you are. The Wanderer, you said. I don't know what that's about. Not doing it. Sorry.
As you walk away, he says, at some point, Leon, you're going to seek out the deeper mysteries. And whenever you do, you remember this place right here.
Got it. Sure. Sewer behind the dumpster.
And you can take off. The tape, by the way, has a label that says Blam 03, everybody, Blam. I'm going to check in with Nina. Nina, you said you were going to approach the master bedroom.
Yeah.
You have to imagine what it's like. There's no light, and there's no windows in this hall, obviously, and so it's quite dark, right? There's enough ambient light from the hall and from your phone, maybe, to where you can see where you're going, but it's just very, very dark. The carpet's very thin, and so your footsteps aren't particularly muffled. There's just kind of like a squeak as they press into the floorboards. And as you get to that door, which is closed, you hear from the other side, I don't want you to come in here now. Now is not the time. I just need a minute to myself. Go watch something on TV.
Do I recognize?
If you press forward, you have to do the night move.
Yeah, we're gonna press forward. Because apparently I have a death wish. But I can't... There's a part of Nina that can't fathom that she's hearing her dad again. And she can't let this go. And so she moves into the room.
When you open the door, we'll talk about the room if there's time. But for now, you see the bed. You see your father. There's just, the curtains are closed in the room, and so there's just a little bit of faint glow from outside in the room. It's very, very dim. But you see your father sitting on the corner of the bed, turned away from you, his head slumped down, his beard is kind of like hanging out of his hand near the floor. I don't want you to see me like this. I don't want you to see me like this right now. I want the night move. What are you afraid is going to happen right now if you lose your nerve or if the situation otherwise goes very, very badly?
I'm afraid I'm going to see him turn and look at me. And I'm afraid that I'm going to be confronted with the fact that, while he was a very good dad, there was a very dark part of him that I didn't recognize when I was a kid.
Oh, it's worse than that. That dark part will be made physically manifest. And it will be the last thing you see. You can turn around now and avoid the dice, or you can pick up and roll with sensitivity at disadvantage because of your various conditions.
Yeah, it's too much. She's going to run. She bolts from the house.
I think that will wrap our phase. Actually, before we wrap the phase, I'm going to give you all a chance to have a scene together back at the house. I think that seems fair. In particular, if you would like to trigger the nostalgic move to clear some of these conditions, you can do that. When you have an intimate moment with one or more latchkeys, while one of you, at least one of you, is waxing nostalgic about something that takes you back, you may each clear an appropriate condition. You also stumble on a clue relevant to an active mystery. You tell me what the clue is. The clue cannot conclusively answer a question by itself. If it's okay, I'll just put everybody back at the house for now. And the scene is yours. Roleplay.
Who do we think gets back first?
I personally think it's incredibly funny if I get back last and I come in to see 2 Odyssey tapes on the table and my contribution is the Candyland board game.
I think Leon probably got back first.
Then I think when Nina gets back and she closes the door, she looks at Leon and her lip is quivering and she just bursts into tears. And she just weeps. And without asking, without doing anything, she just needs something right now. And she just collapses to her knees and hugs Malcolm. And just brings him in close and just sobs into his fur.
I think Leon had been staring at the tape, and then when you come in and that happens, he gets up from the table and comes towards you, but he doesn't quite know what to do, so he's just hovering awkwardly, hoping that Malcolm can take care of it for a second. And then after a few moments pass, are you okay? Did something happen at the house?
I saw my dad. I saw my dad. Like, it's not him. It can't be him. But I saw him, and all I could think about was everything I'd never said to him, and all I could think about was fucking Artax and the Swamp of Sadness, and it was exactly the same.
Like in the never-ending. Okay,
Yes!
okay, breathe. He's gonna kneel down next to you. Okay, listen to me. Listen to my voice. You're okay. You're here. You're not with him. You're here with us. You got Malcolm. You've got me. And it's gonna be all right.
This place is so fucked up.
I agree.
Why can't I remember playing with the toys? Why can't I remember my dad properly? The way I remembered him when I was a kid. Why am I seeing him like this now? And she like pulls her glasses off and just and wipes them. And she looks at you. It's like a maze. It's like a fucking maze. There's too much of it. There's too much, and I don't know how to win. I don't know what the pathway is, and I can't win, and I can't fight it.
Well, I mean, even... What was his name? Bastion found a way out of the stories. I think we can find a way out of this.
Okay, technically Bastion was the kid reading the story, but like I get you.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
I don't remember the. I'm trying to.
I know. I appreciate it. Sorry. This was a lot.
No, it's fine. I can talk about my weird shit, and then you don't have to feel too bad about yours. Okay? That
like she sort of wordlessly like pulls Malcolm closer and like nods, almost like he's a stuffed animal and she's like a little kid, like mm-hmm.
I went to check out that game today. Zagreus couldn't get in. There was a line out the door. It was wild. No one seemed to be enjoying it though, so that's something. But there was this guy. He gave me this tape. He gave me a tape, and then he was. I don't think he was the Attafoy. I thought he might be for a second, but that it was weird.
What did he tried to get like?
The light was really weird on him, but it looked like he was like glowing white, and he was like 7 foot tall, this really big guy.
Whoa.
And his accent was something else. I don't know. But he wanted me to go into the sewer.
What?
He moved the dumpster and he wanted me to go into I didn't go into the fucking sewer.
I'm glad.
See, you're laughing. It's good. It's weird and it's fine. But he gave me that, and he points at the tape that's on the table.
Oh, I found one. And Nina will reach into her satchel and pull out the Odyssey tape. And maybe that's the moment that JJ comes back in.
Yeah, I came in just as like he tried to make me go into a sewer, is kind of just hanging between you. You've got kind of tears streaming down your face. Malcolm seems to be doing a lot of emotional heavy lifting. And JJ just isn't... He probably heard some of the conversation beforehand, but held off from entering the room because he's not emotionally mature enough to deal with this. And he can't offer any emotional support for either of these two people, even though he might want to deep down. It's not something he's kind of capable of. And he walks over to the table where there are the two Odyssey tapes and the camera there on the table, and he puts his...
And the cook-off tape, too.
And the cook-off tape as well. And he puts his Candyland board game down and kind of tries to alleviate some tension with levity by saying, well, it seems like you both have been busy uncovering things. I lost a game of Candyland to a 50-year-old woman who didn't seem to be able to tell me anything except that the copy of Candyland that we played is in some way cursed. And I've had the sort of day where I think I believe her. And we've got to go back to that house because
No.
I'm not getting straight answers from anyone. And there's one person in all of this who, like, I'm going to sound fucking crazy, but I think he's going to give us a straight answer. And that person is Elliot Mendoza. And I would like to attempt to answer the question about how we lure Elliot Mendoza to the house.
Let's talk about the vulnerable move. I think we have triggered it. If anybody wants to make a case for what conditions they might have cleared.
Can you clear more than one, or is it just the one?
Yeah.
Okay. I would love to clear Swamp of Sadness. If
Sure,
that's cool.
yeah.
Thank you very much.
Letting it all out, yeah.
Letting it all out. Yeah.
Anybody else want to clear a condition?
My reign as King of Candyland was short, but it was 2 beautiful hours, and I reigned over my kingdom with great benevolence. But it's over, sadly.
Sure, I can clear the labyrinth.
Oh, I want to hear that. How do you feel like that's cleared?
Actually, no. Never mind. I'll keep it. I know you want to hear it, but I'll keep it.
Okay. Very well. Okay. You also, as a group, get to stumble onto a clue as well. It could be something, maybe like the materials that you're all kind of laying down. It could be just something, a memory that's jogged. Maybe you see something out the window. I don't know. But a clue related to an active mystery that you all get to define. If you have some thoughts, you can share them now. Otherwise, we can save it for later. Be thinking on the clue. In the meantime, I think we are pretty well ready to transition into the dusk phase. Do we, as players, want to watch an Odyssey tape for the night phase?
Can we, I think you briefly mentioned it last time, can we watch an Odyssey tape in a location where we're having a night phase?
You can watch the Odyssey tapes are always watched by us out of character. We assume your characters watch them at some point. And we get to watch them anywhere we've found a VCR, no matter where the characters are at. And so we could choose to watch it in the VCR at 18 Escondido Street, or we can watch it at Rodenbecker Street as last time. But the characters themselves don't have to be there. Because
I feel like this is how we get Elliot, because this was like, the living room was the most used room in the house. That's where family movie nights were. And I wonder whether we can kind of recreate a pseudo
Just
family.
say
movie night.
seance, Matt. Just say seance.
So we can do that with the chili cook-off.
Yeah, something. We like. I don't know whether that works. Whether we can watch the Odyssey tape and kind of fold that into the idea that we're going back to the house to try.
Yeah, I mean, I think your characters can absolutely do whatever they're going to do. It doesn't have any bearing on whether and how we watch an audio tape as a play group or an Odyssey tape as a play group. So yeah, but we can certainly have the scenes be that like the characters are also watching it. That's fine, but yeah.
Well, I'm up for watching a tape tonight if everyone else is, but if we want to just knuckle down, then
which one? You currently have Affirmations 04, Astral 09, Pyramid Passage, Pure White Contact, and Blam 03. Everybody, Blam.
Well, Blam, everybody Blam sounds sort of kind of like kids would enjoy to blam. So I wonder whether that might be our choice. And maybe the theme tune might like trigger something and get this kid down to the living room.
Yeah, it sounds pretty joyful. I think that would be really good. Let's try that.
2 votes for
Let's
Blam. Wren, any objections?
No objections to Blam.
Fantastic. So we have our tape sorted. At this point, let's go ahead and try to answer this question. Do you have a theory, Matt, on how you can lure Elliot to you?
It's pretty much that, by recreating a happy moment from what probably was a happy household at least some of the time. And yeah, recreating a kind of a family movie night in front of the big TV with Reese's peanut butter cups. We'll bring some of...
Yeah, you broke up just briefly, but it sounds like you wanted to use the Reese's and the Voltron.
That's exactly correct, yeah.
Anybody else want to work? I mean, I think that's a great plan. If anybody else has any extra thoughts on it, you can absolutely say.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I'm trying to think of, because for the other question, which is what happened to the Mendozas, yeah, I don't see any theory at the moment that would involve the peanut butter cups, or maybe the Candyland board.
But the kids didn't like playing it, so I don't want to try and invoke
the
Candyland board. And we know that the kid does like the Voltrons.
And he does like peanut butter. They did like peanut butter cups. Yeah, okay, let's go with that, and then we can see the additional theory. Any more clues?
I think we also have to define a clue from our vulnerable scene, so we can toss that into the other question. So flat roll then.
Indeed.
Okie dokie. 7. I can't stop rolling 7s.
When the Latchkeys have a discussion about the answer to a question, really the players, once you've gathered enough number of clues equal to at least half the complexity and reach a consensus, roll plus the number of clues incorporated into the answer or otherwise explained away, minus the complexity. So it was a complexity 2. You use 2 clues, so that makes it a 0. On a 10 plus, it's correct. On a 7 to 9, it's correct, but I will add an unwelcome complication to the answer, and or pursuing the opportunity will be more dangerous. So I will hold that in my back pocket until the appropriate time. But you are correct. This is going to work. Let's keep going. What is everyone going to be doing? Like, is everyone participating in the lure Elliot scene, or are one or more of you doing something different?
I am happy to do it alone, by the way, if people don't want to come.
It's got big Haskell energy. Nina really doesn't want to go back to the house. Yeah. So I think if JJ's like, we got to go back to the house, Nina's not going with him.
What will you be doing, Nina?
I think maybe... Is there any way that she can take a look at the camcorder belonging to Finn Carlson? Is it one of those camcorders that has like a video, like the panel pops out?
Yes,
it's not Cinema Verde or whatever JJ thinks it is, but like cool. But she can take a look at that.
You should be able to watch it if you can figure out how to get it like connected up to a TV, basically, right? And then and then you can watch it.
Okay,
that way. That's a great idea. Yeah.
Nina will like sort of strong arm JJ into like showing her how to connect this to the TV and how it all works out before he zips out the door and back to the house.
Well, indeed, that clue about Finn Carlson's camcorder is not valent until you look at it. So
okay,
so at some point you must. Yeah. That's a good idea. What are you going to do tonight, Ellie? Which I love to call you now.
That's fine. He really wants to look at that game. No one is having a good time. He really wants to look at it. I don't know what time the arcade closes up shop, but I think he's going to try and get in to see that game.
Sounds good. Fantastic. We have our plan for tonight. Let me go ahead and introduce the tape that we will be watching. Blam 03, everybody blam. This tape holds an episode of Blam, an educational show for kids. It features a rotating cast of blammers who participate in short book discussions, cooking demos, performances, interviews, and more. Everyone will do prompt 1. Prompt 2 will be Jess. Prompt 3 will be Wren. And prompt 4 will be Matt. One thing to be mindful of for this upcoming night phase as well. Since you're watching the tape in 18 Escondido Street in that VCR, it triggers a special rule. And so you can watch it. If you watch the tape in that room, you get to collectively define a clue inspired by what you saw on the tape. The clue can be used for any mystery, but as always, cannot conclusively answer a question by itself. And so essentially you get a free clue out of it from something in the tape. You also will be paying attention for Odyssey clues. And one more thing on your plate specifically, Jess, you have now unlocked the ability to get a signal from the other side.
Oh shit, yes, the arch. Yes.
A signal from the other side is like the unseen in the between. Essentially, if something happens in the tape that kind of echoes or is reflective of something going on in the real world, or vice versa, then that is a signal from the other side, and you get XP for that. So. The night phase. You get comfortable on that maroon sectional, that well-worn couch. Pop the tape in and turn the TV on, which comes on now. This episode opens on a cavernous black room with giant colorful letters spelling out Blam in the background. The Blammers introduce themselves through a cheerful song. Each child says their name and strikes a pose, and there might be something a little off about them too. We're the Blammers. You know, the little song is going on. Everyone's running on, doing their little thing, saying their little thing.
Tammy Lou, a little pale-skinned kid with freckles and loose ringlets of auburn hair, runs on and says, "Hi, I'm Tammy Lou, and I love to bounce on my pogo stick." And she gives the biggest smile, but she has got teeth missing, which is not unusual for kids. But what is unusual is exactly the right half of her teeth are missing.
Another kid runs on. "Hi, my name is Sarah, and I like to do gardening." And she raises up her little trowel with dirt and pulls out a worm, and then puts the worm in her mouth, and its little tail wriggles in her mouth as she runs off the screen.
Hi, I'm Timmy, and I really love Jesus. And this child is breathing far too heavily. It is far too enraptured in what's going on, and while everyone else has got props and everything, he just spreads his arms out like he's been crucified and grins down the camera.
Hi, I'm Kaylin, and I like to dance. And you see Kaylin, who is this really long in the body, almost too thin for words, begin to contort herself, but the contortion goes just a little too far, and she's just looking at the camera the entire time as her body twists almost in the entirely opposite direction.
It's the steady eye contact with the camera for me. Fantastic. Nina, a night in by yourself, trying to get this camera sorted out. What comforts from home do you have around you right now? How are you getting settled in for an evening of watching some random video found in a storage unit inside of an arcade machine that used to belong to a kid who went missing 20 years ago?
I think on the table, I'd like to think that she's sort of sat on the sofa in that sort of shared living area there is. And on the table in front of her, she's got a packet of cigarettes. And despite her better judgment, a beer. And it's the same brand that her dad used to drink. But this is in date. It's not expired. And it just helps calm her now, but it's there. And then next to that as well, while she's like fiddling with the camera, the little manuscript that she's maybe a little too shy to show the others for her own sort of choose your own adventure book lies open on the table too. And she, every now and again, she's sort of like trying to get the wiring right, or trying to get something to work, like maybe, rejigging the batteries or whatever it may be. And she'll just sort of look up and be like, oh, this would be good. And like takes a pencil out from somewhere and makes a note in the manuscript and then flips it. And it's like, and that would be a good option. Yeah, okay, from today. Yeah. And that's sort of how she's keeping both her mind and her hands occupied at the same time, trying not to focus too much on what's happening.
Leon, you're in line. You're getting close to being able to play Zagreus. Mal is there with you. You're standing in line next to a young guy he's got thick Coke bottle glasses. He's wearing an All Your Base Are Belong to Us t-shirt and a Legend of Zelda lanyard for some reason. And he's like, I traveled all the way from Billings, Montana to play this.
That's nice. Good for you. I used to live here, so I didn't travel far at all.
I like your dog. What's his name?
Oh, this is Malcolm.
And he like pets Malcolm, says, so how much do you know about Zagreus?
Oh, not a lot, but the line was interesting, so I figured I'd see what was at the end of the road, so to speak.
Do you want to know what I think?
Sure.
I think Zagreus is a creation of extraterrestrials.
Here in Dioga County.
First contact, baby. I mean, it makes perfect sense that an advanced civilization would choose our most sophisticated form of art to establish a connection with the chosen few.
And yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah, no, I buy that, yeah.
It's almost our turn. I'm so excited.
Me too. I hope it's... Where did you say you drove from?
Billings, Montana.
Billings? Well, I hope it was worth the drive from Billings, Montana.
Oh, I have no doubt that it will be.
Yeah. I mean, I've been hearing some people say that it kind of sucks, though. So, like, maybe don't have your hopes set too high.
JJ, you go into the house through the back. You have to walk past that hallway to get to the TV room. That hallway where, on your footage, you heard your parents fighting behind that door at the end. What are you doing right now?
I think that JJ confronts that door as he is doing something, and when he catches himself doing this thing, he realizes how stupid it is, but he is laying out a trail of Reese's Pieces, kind of breadcrumb style from the cupboard in Elliot's room all the way out, but he is given pause at the door and kind of stops what he's doing and just, I think, listens.
Back to Blam. Jess, it's time for Blam Talk, in which the Blammers discuss an audience question. Today's question is, are you ready for Blamorama? What about the cast's response tells you they're dreading Blamorama?
So the camera zooms in on the kid that asks the question. And it zooms in first on Sarah. And Sarah, who was so gleeful before, looks just off camera. And like just for a brief moment is like, I don't want to say it. Timmy, are you excited for Blamorama? And then like the camera cuts to Timmy and Timmy is like frozen in the headlights and you can see the other kids are like moving in the shadows as if the minute they're caught on camera, it's like tag, but it's far too intrusive. And Timmy's like, what about you, Deborah Lou? Are you excited for Blamorama? And now the screams are starting. Like people, like the kids are shrieking as if to get away from the camera. And you can almost hear behind the camera like a chuckle, a laugh, like the adult that's doing this, the adult behind the lens is really enjoying the fear that whatever is about to happen instills. And these kids continuously just like name each other to get the question onto them, and then the next and the next and the next. And it's almost like a frenzy as this camera is running around the studio now. And then all of a sudden it just pans down to the youngest of the Blammers. Couldn't be more than like 6. And they are sobbing and crying. And then they start to answer the question.
Nina, you eventually manage to get the thing powered up and you run it through the aux cable into the TV. And the tape is somewhat degraded, but you can make it out. And it's a recording of the Styx Society. They're hanging around in the alley behind Galaxia Arcade. They're just doing normal, stupid teenage bullshit. I mean, nothing, particularly interesting about that. Just joshing, calling each other names, that kind of thing. And then you hear one of them, maybe it's Dieter Hoskins, unclear. He says, "Hey, look at this." And then Finn takes the camera and moves it over to focus on a sewer opening in the ground. It's probably just maintenance tunnels or something. He's like, but there are no maintenance tunnels under the city. My dad works for the city. There's nothing like that. Yeah, but you've heard about the tunnels, right? They argue for a bit, and then they eventually go down the ladder into the tunnels underneath Galaxia Arcade, indeed, underneath the whole town. And the next 20 to 30 minutes of footage is them just wandering around these tunnels. It's very curious because these utility tunnels, they would suggest that there's an apparent purpose, because why have them if you're not going to use them for anything? But as the camera pans around, you can see that the wiring, the pipelines, the drainage even, they don't connect to anything. It's like they started to build these things and then just left them all unconnected, just didn't do anything with it.
Is it sort of like the back rooms? Is it that sort of liminal feeling of nothing quite fitting?
I shrug my shoulders. But I will say this. The tunnels are covered with graffiti. All three of you will eventually get to watch this tape. Please describe some of the graffiti that your eye is drawn to. What about it frightens or amuses you?
I think some of it, you can tell it's all sort of done in this sort of luminous green, right? So it's the same person who's made sort of graffiti throughout, like on different parts of the tunnels. And initially it's just like, Kevin's mum sucks donkey dick or whatever. Like it's just, teenage bullshit. But suddenly it just devolves into help, 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 can't run, help. And then the last you sort of see is a horrendous stick figure like monster drawn on the wall very hurriedly, and then the paint trails off down one of the tunnels. And we don't see the end.
I think there is, in a little further down the ways, there is a part of the wall that has collapsed, and it's left a hole that is just big enough to kind of crawl through, I guess. But if you kind of take a step back, you realize that hole is centered on a mouth, and that mouth is centered in a face, and that face is centered in a giant blazing sun.
In red spray paint, someone has clearly scribbled "Don't look now" with a little smiley face drawn between the O's of look and a little mouth under it, and an arrow pointing ahead, but it's just more tunnel. And as you go down, you see another "Don't look now," and the O's of the smiley face are bigger, and the mouth is wider, and the arrow continues to point down. And then it just says "Don't," and the arrow points up.
The clue is now complete, which is that the Styx Society went down into the tunnels beneath the city, or beneath the town. How much do you know about Vertex Electronica?
From a cursory thing, I think they made the game.
I didn't come all the way from Billings just to play Zagreus, though that is certainly a treasure worth seeking. In fact, I came to go looking through the old Vertex Electronic offices. They're just on the outskirts of town. I'm going to go tomorrow. You should come with me.
I didn't know they had offices here. That's interesting. You're sure dead set on this game being great? Like, it might just be a pile of shit, you know that.
I am simply a seeker of the truth. The truth is out there.
Are you on the Vector Void forums by any chance?
Yes, totally. I'm Bartman69.
Bartman 69.
My name's Bart Kincaid.
Gotcha. Cool. I think I've seen a couple of your posts, actually. Just thinking about it.
If you're on the forum too, you have to come with me tomorrow.
Bartman, I don't know. Again, I'm just checking it out because it's the most interesting thing happening right now. This seems like a lot
It's your turn. JJ, you're standing in front of the door, and then you have to imagine that your eye line is like up here, looking at the door, maybe 3/4 of the way up. But then quite suddenly your eye line drops down, and you're looking directly into about halfway to the door. What do you do?
He does what he did when he was that age and presses his ear against the door.
As you put your hand up to the door, you see now that your hand is very small. It's a child's hand. As you go to listen in, you must take the haunted condition now. And we go back to Blam Wren. Today's Blam game is Hot Potato. The Blammers circle up and start passing a ball around. A shrill rhythmic beep comes from somewhere off camera. It speeds up as the kids pass the ball as quickly as they can, growing visibly terrified. The beeping reaches a crescendo and then stops. What happens to the Blammer who is holding the ball?
The circle starts out very neat. It's not all of the Blammers, but about 10 of them. And they begin passing the ball across the circle, cross back and forth, throwing it back to each other. And as the beeping becomes more frequent, the circle starts to break apart. The tossing becomes less gentle, and it almost turns into a game of dodgeball where they have to catch it. You can't let the ball drop. You have to catch the ball. But they don't want to hold on to it for too long, and they're just throwing it at each other, keeping an eye on where the ball is, because you can't let it drop. You can't let it drop, because as soon as it drops, one of the Blammers catches onto the ball, but she doesn't get a good grip on it, and it slips out of her hand. The beeping stops, and you can see 2 kids behind her on the side just look at her. Some of them relieved. One of them, no, Deidre, no, it's not Deidre. And she's just looking down at where she dropped the ball. And tears start to form in her eyes as you can hear something click and chitter down at her feet just off camera. And as something white and chitinous begins to crawl up her leg, the camera stops.
Nina, the Stick Society is lost down in the tunnels. This might answer the question of what happened to them, right? They're lost. They're getting, it's kind of Blair Witchy in the sense that they're like getting frustrated with each other, and like they keep circling back to the same places. And at one point, Finn turns the camera to himself, and you see him for the first time. And he looks directly into the camera, almost like he's looking directly at you. And he says, I don't know where we should go. Left, right? What do you think?
Sort of, I would love to use my latchkey move in this moment.
You have to introduce a real world fact.
A real world fact. Okay. I think I'm the choose your own adventure, the fighting fantasy. I'm good at memorizing like pathways and routes, and I've watched them go round in circles. I've watched them at each of these tunnels. I'm sort of seeing the little bits, and I know which way they should go to sort of come back the way they have to get out.
Oh, I like that. That's pretty good. Yeah.
Okay. And so it's not a map, but it's like I've been here before sort of thing. Like almost like deja vu, but it's because I've seen it through this guy's camera lens.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like a compass in the dark sort of thing.
I like the idea of the clue being the actual like layout of the tunnels. I think that'd be fun. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Strictly speaking, the way the movie is supposed to work is you're supposed to like introduce like a real like our world fact into the story, and then that becomes the clue, right? But I like this. I like where this is going, and I think there's something fun there. So, yeah, that's good.
As she sort of like remembers this and that, she sort of almost absentmindedly is like, obviously go left.
He turns and says, let's go left this time, guys. And they go left. JJ, you are listening at the door. Please make the meddling move with sensitivity at disadvantage because of haunted.
What could go wrong? 5.
You lean against the door, and it's actually ajar, and so it just swings open. You see your mother sitting on the corner of the bed, much as Mr. Powers was, sitting on the edge of the bed, not facing you, facing away. And she says, I don't think I can take it anymore, Joey. Let's make our last stop at Flamarama, our last part of the tape. Matt says, the final segment of this episode is Blam Lab. 2 kids in lab coats hold beakers filled with dark, sludgy liquid. They bring the beakers to their lips in unison and drink until nothing but a slick residue is left. A third child walks into frame holding a bin of labware overflowing with more of the fluid. The camera drifts to the side before abruptly cutting out. What does it reveal as the source of the liquid?
So just off kind of stage left, as it were, we can see a man working a strange contraption. We would know it as a cider press. It's a wooden slatted 4-sided box with a big handle that turns slowly, a 4-handled wheel that goes round, and that turns a screw which pushes whatever is in the press down and pressurizes it. It should be apples, right? What else do you put in a cider press? And this man, he has got kind of thinning hair that kind of just drops off to one side. He has this maniacal grin as he's turning it, and he's shirtless, but he wears this kind of grubby apron over the top, and he continues to turn as the kids continue to drink and smile. And he turns, and we hear the creaking of the wood, and one of the sides begins to splinter and buckle, and then a hoof comes bursting out through the wood.
Foolish mortal, dare ye face the Stygian perils of Zagreus? The game sucks. It's not fun. It's this like really, really bad maze game where you're a little guy who's meant to be some like demon or something trying to escape hell or something. It's not great. It's a little bit of dexterity. and it's a little kind of puzzle solving, but the walls are constantly glitching. The frames are all off. It's not a good game. But there might still be something to learn here in playing it. So go ahead and do the meddling move, Leon, with your choice of either composure or reason. But you must do it at disadvantage because of the labyrinth.
Okay. 8.
As you're playing the game, it's going fine. There's nothing particularly. It's not a good game. It's not very exciting. But I will tell you this: as you're playing it, maybe even as you finish up, you kind of step back, and Bart's stepping up to take his turn. The cabinet, you can see now, there are parts where this sort of like vinyl is peeled off, and underneath you would expect to find particle board, right? But that's not what's underneath. That's not what the cabinet is made of. The cabinet is actually made of wood, like planks of wood, which is interesting. Except one of these planks has like marks burned into it that look like they say SS, as if it was like a ship name. Has Zagreus been made from reclaimed wood from a ship? That's your clue. So what did you think?
I'm not gonna lie, Bartman. Kind of sucks.
You're just probably not very good at it. Here, let me see. And he goes and he begins playing. And that's where your night phase ends. JJ, you got a miss. Your mother has said she can't take it anymore. She's still not facing you. She says, "Don't come in here right now, Joey. Now is not the time. Just go back to your room, put on a movie. It's okay." What do you do?
I say, but I heard that you needed money for bills, and I brought this, and hold out like a gumball jar full of like quarters and dimes.
Do you walk in and give it to her?
I walk up behind her and I put it next to her on the bed.
She reaches down, still not looking at you, and picks up the jar and kind of rests it in her lap. The door to the bedroom closes behind you. You hear a chunk-chunk. And we'll discover your fate next time. Nina. The tape continues. They took the left, and you hear them say, "Oh, okay, I think we're getting somewhere now. Do you see that light up ahead? What is that?" They kind of keep going, and Finn is like, what do you see? What do you see? And then one of the other kids says, I think that's my dad's boss. Mr. Whately, what are you doing down here? What? No. Oh my God. Guys, run right now. And then they just begin running. And that concludes our night phase. Let's wrap up our night phase here with the various clues and things. We have the Odyssey clue, which comes from Blamorama. We have the VCR clue, which also comes from Blamorama. Though I do like it. Well, no, we'll stick with that. And then I think you're defining a clue as well. Or you already did. You had the map. You already had the labyrinth map. You drew a map of the tunnels.
Yeah.
So what do we think about the clue for one of the mysteries from Blamorama as well as the Odyssey clue from Blamorama?
The Odyssey clue from Blamorama, I love the whatever the creature was that Wren described, because that's awful. If only to explain disappearances and children a child's nightmare, basically.
I don't know what was going on in Blamorama, but it was hell. Whatever it
Yeah.
was, it was like pure hell. Like,
whatever these kids did was bad.
Like it was hell. Like
Yeah.
I feel bad for those kids. I feel bad for us having to watch that. It was all bad. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Odyssey clue.
Would it be too bizarre for one of the kids in the Blam audience to be the third Power Ranger?
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
How can we make it a clue though? Like what were they doing, or what was their deal? Because we already know of their existence, but
so this is a clue for the TV Odyssey mystery, right?
Oh no, it can be for Escondido Street too. Yeah.
You get
You get one for Escondido Street or Zagreus, and then one for the TV Odyssey mystery. Yeah.
So the TV Odyssey mystery is what connects all these other mysteries to the disappearance of TV Odyssey, right?
Right. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So could we do this? This is the clue for TV Odyssey. Then the third Power Ranger kid is stood in the audience in the exact same pose as he is in the photograph.
That's creepy and good. I love it. If nobody objects to that, I think that's terrific. What about for either Escondido Street or Zagreus? What might have been glimpsed?
Yes, no. The creature that Wren described is the same one that we saw in the graffiti. That's what the graffiti
that's pretty good.
is about.
I like that. Yeah, that's
I
good.
like that. Yeah, something like that.
That's pretty good. So like there's something to do with this like insectile creature. Yeah. The existence of him in the video, but also in the graffiti. Intriguing. That feels like that could be an Odyssey clue too. It feels really relevant to everything going on. But I love it. Those are all great.
We have a clue from earlier.
Yes, you have the one from the vulnerable movie.
Oh yes.
Well.
Yeah.
Could it? I've got an idea. Could it be that when JJ put the box down, the Candyland box, another character sort of sheet that was maybe stuck to the bottom that nobody's seen for like a decade just sort of like fell off, and the description of it's like the page boy of Candy Floss, but like the drawing and the description looks exactly like Elliot.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah like existing pictures of Elliot. That's pretty good. That's great. Wren, are you ready to do your key of the child that you marked? Or do you want to wait till next time?
I would like to wait until next time.
Okay. In that case, let's move on to the dawn. Okay, answer dawn questions. Let's see what we've got. JJ, did you go out of your way to reconnect with Deep Lake this week?
So, what he said in his kind of speech to Debbie was true, even though he was framing it through a character that's made up. Whenever he does mention that he's from Deep Lake, New Mexico, people do tell him or look at him funny, and I think that was him trying to reconnect with being where he's from.
I agree. Did you cut loose for once?
I had an opportunity to cut loose in the sense that I had an opportunity to step in that vulnerable scene, and I did not.
Nina, did you receive a signal from the other side?
I think there were like a couple of ways that they interwove. I think the monsters in the graffiti, the monster that Leon described. That as one, but
I'm into
a couple. Yeah, brilliant.
Did you go out of your way to reconnect with Deep Lake?
I did. I went back to the house, and having seen her father, like knowing that he was there, she was sort of.
I think it's your dad's connection that made it.
Yeah.
Beyond just like investigating the mystery, right? So.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Were you vulnerable with someone?
I genuinely cried. So thanks for that, Jason.
Yes, I know. Yeah, you win the vulnerability prize of the day. Leon, probably in the same sense, you were also vulnerable with someone.
Yeah.
Did you cut loose for once?
Oh, I don't think so.
I think if you had gone down in the sewer, you would have.
Yeah, if I had gone down in the sewer.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, let's keep going with our phase here. You can mark New Dawn questions if you wish, or leave them the same. And then we have an unresolved key prompt, which we'll do next time. And before we go to feedback, before we go to debrief, we find ourselves once again in the deep desert. Out in the deep desert, our friend, the old TV on the media cart, waiting for us. And it is an old friend. It's a comfort in its way. If there was an old battered maroon sectional to sit in, we would definitely sit there and we would watch. The TV pops on. We see our friend, the big man, once again in the frame, once again flipping his tarot cards. He flips the card of the moon. I recently beheld a red moon. It was blood red, like a bloody bullet hole in the sky. And then I looked all around me, and I saw dead things in the earth rising up to witness this bloody moon, or perhaps to worship it. And the veil between worlds, between different realities, between different dimensions, between the lands of the living and the dead, was as thin as I'd ever seen it. It was gossamer. It was mist. I could press my finger into it and feel its feverish yielding. But the red moon was neither cause nor symptom. It was an augur. The TV turns off, leaving a hot white dot in the center of the screen. And that takes us to Stars and Wishes.
Firstly, right, Jason, I'm simply a seeker of the truth. Fucking sent me big time. That was wonderful. I really like all of the NPCs that you brought to life for us this session. I think overall, what I really enjoy about public access over the between, when in between everything's really heightened and it's really kind of atmospheric and everything. In public access, mundane stuff is just happening and then it's awful. And then there's just something deeply upsetting and unsettling. And I think that's what makes it even more frightening, because it's just so prosaic, the way that it just kind of enters into the story. I really love it so much. I really loved everyone's bland prompts. And I really loved everyone's paint the scenes in the sewers and just the paint the scenes in general. I love that about this table. Like, everyone really goes hard on those, and I always really like the way they shake out. Yeah, when there was just one thing, it's more a wish. I could see Wren's cogs turning in their head when you were about to play the arcade machine, and I was wondering if they were thinking, I wonder if Malcolm could play this with me, just so I can get an extra dice. I just had this vision of you stood next to Malcolm, just playing 2-player Zagreus. But overall, I loved it. Thank you so much, everybody.
No,
you were genuinely
saying,
thinking about it.
I was like, how do I get this dog to play this game?
Like, clever handsing it in some way, like he's giving you some sort of cheat code. It's a cheat code on his collar or something. No, yeah, stars all around. I think from the week before, which really set the tone, this week we've just really launched into it. Everything that we were describing, and it's that same thing that Matt just said about like mundane things being awful. In my head, it's like mundane nostalgia being twisted. It was that honestly, my favorite bit was our description of the TV room, because I remember it's in my head, and you know, the 20 different remotes, all of them in various states of disarray, something that's been it's not yet unboxed on the table, and there's another remote for it. I don't know, that just really sent me back really suddenly, and then all of a sudden I was in a space of, oh god, it's about to get so awful so quickly. Even just something as ominous as having like the VCR is flashing 12 constantly. It's a very unique game set where you get to sort of relive memories that you have and bring them to life and then twist them into some really dark shit. So yeah, absolute stars for just detail. Some really, really, really amazing detail. In particular, Leon's LE in the wood. Like, we're getting more into like what Leon was as a kid and who they were, and I love that. And then JJ's King Gumdrop the Fourth. That got me. But yeah, no, again, stars all around. Stars all around.
I really love the atmosphere of Escondido Street, in the sense that if I could never step foot in it, I will never step. I don't want to know what kind of haunting Jason can pull up next. For y'all, I'm not involved. No, just the scenes with Nina's dad and JJ's parents. It's so out of time, but just it's still enough to like evoke such emotion. It's just really evocative. Jason, I love every piece of accent / dialect / NPC work that you do. It's just so fun, and it makes everyone so diverse. Like, every NPC has their own voice and is so identifiable. And I just really enjoy that. Yeah, I feel like we're beginning to know these characters much more, and I would like them to live long enough, guys, so that we can see more with your 3 conditions and you're going into a room and the door closing. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, loads of stars all around. It was so fun. I started Jess for that really incredible emotional scene about your dad when you were talking to Leon. That was just great, and I also really appreciated Wren. Like, your role play in that moment too was also really, really good. Like, it was such a interesting, like, I don't know, like I felt it. Like, I felt everything going on in that scene, and so I think that's like kind of like at a role-playing game table, you don't get moments like that very often, where you like really feel that sort of intensity of emotion. That's really great. Star for I don't know, like there is so many. I guess it's a sort of general star for everyone. I'm really enjoying how this group is willing to like push into the dark places, but is still playing their characters with like you're still playing your characters with a certain degree of like believability. Like that moment when Nina turned around and did not go into the room with the dad, like that felt like the right move there, right? I thought that was really, really terrific. I really enjoyed seeing how JJ, like that story you gave to Debbie, and then like Debbie calling you out, and then you sort of like just transitioning into, yeah, you got me, like that was really terrific moment. It was really fun to role play. Quite love that. Everyone did a great job with Blamorama or Blam. Blam was horrible. It was so bad. I never want to go there. Like,
what is it with this group and like traumatizing or killing children? What is it about?
It's creepy baby all over again.
It's haunted baby.
No, yeah. That was really terrific. And this, you kind of picked up on it, Jess. Like this game is all about like nostalgia, right? And it's about like the idea of nostalgia, and it's about the idea of, as kids, we remember things like we experience things as a kids in a certain way, and we remember it differently. Like we have like our years to sort of like translate what we remember seeing as a kid, and there's something about that, like there's something about that space in between that is, I think there's a lot of horror there. Right? There's a lot of horror between like what we imagined a thing was like and what it was actually like, and kind of translating it. And so yeah, everything we did today was just so in that spirit. Everyone just did a really terrific job. Really, really fun to play the big man with you, Wren. I really enjoyed that, and I hope we get to see more big man scenes with everybody. Obviously, I'm very excited to see what happened to JJ in the master bedroom of Escondido Street, like a little cliffhanger. Yeah.
You won't kill me as a result of a failed information move again.
I will not.
Jason.
No. You will not be dead. You will not be dead, but we will see what happened to you. No, I think what we're going to do is I'm just going to trigger the night move straight away and just see like what happens to you. So, but yeah, great session.